There's a province-wide education initiative called the Pink Tour, which encourages women from 40 to 79 to take advantage of BC's free screening mammography program. The new Pink Bus is a health education center on wheels. It is my pleasure to welcome breast cancer graduate, survivor, founder of the Canadian Breast Cancer Foundation, BC Yukon, Judy Caldwell, and Mandeep Sandhu, who is the health coordinator for the CBCF's Screening Saves Lives project, to Studio 4 to tell us more. Nice to see you.
It's a pleasure.
Nice to see you again.
After how many years?
About 20-some.
20-some.
I was just beginning in radio, I think, and you had just survived the cancer.
Right. Early days. And I was trying to do something about it.
Before anyone talked about it much.
Oh, I know.
Maybe Betty Ford said something, but that was about it.
I know, but this was a very uncharted, unspoken about territory. And it was still embarrassing for women.
Yes, very much so. And Mandeep, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well.
Are you a survivor or an activist?
I'm more of an activist. I don't have a big family history of breast cancer, but my aunt in India had breast cancer in a country where there's not really free mammography programs like here in BC. And so that really pushed me to apply for this funding from the CBCF and work towards increasing awareness of mammography.
So increasing awareness, big thing. Big thing. I know we hear about it a lot, but there isn't a woman on the planet that doesn't say, oh, you know, oh. And when I had my first one, I thought, I didn't know what I thought, but I had horrible thoughts. I thought, oh my gosh, I don't even know if I can get through this. And it was so easy, and it didn't hurt. They just kind of go squish, you're done,
the thing
and
is,
you're gone.
Most women don't realize that actually they're in control, because the technician's over there and they've got all their equipment and they're doing their thing, and you're in the mammography machine.
Right.
But you are the one who says enough, or yes, you can go further.
Oh, really?
Yes, you are in control.
Who knew that?
Who knew that?
Well, I know now.
Yeah.
But I guess it depends. It totally depends on the female, and not pain tolerance so much. You know more about this than I do, but size.
You know what?
See, I don't have much to squeeze. Maybe that's it. I just don't know.
But you know, the pap smear is not the social event of the year.
You noticed.
You noticed, right. You just do it, right? Well, you go in and it's the same sort of thing. You just suck it up for a few seconds.
And it doesn't hurt. Things are just cold in medical land. And I don't know what that's about. But even when you're getting a mammogram, it's cold.
Yes, it is.
Is it still cold?
Well, I have not eligible age from a mammogram.
Okay, so you haven't had one yet.
I haven't, but I have heard that it just depends on the time of the month as well. So you want to be cognizant of what time of the month it is. So you want to go about a week after your menstrual cycle. If you want it to be less painful, and you can always pop 2 ibuprofens as well.
Really?
Yes.
See, and as I said, every woman is different. So for some women, this could be a little bit painful, but it's what, 2 minutes?
But look at look at your return on your investment if you have to look at it that way. A few seconds here, you're clear. How wonderful. A few seconds here, oh, we caught something early. Well, good. Right.
And are there cases of cancer where breast cancer where it can be caught really early, where you couldn't even find it by self-examination, and it would still go on to kill you, or not?
I couldn't find it. This is over 20 years ago. I could not find it with my own hands. I had gone to my doctor, who recognizes me once a year and does the examination. He couldn't find it. And the screening program was only 3 years old at the time. And thank heavens he was, he's kind of a great guy. He said, you've got time in your day. You may think you're busy, but you go down and get that mammogram. I did. The technology picked it up. It's not 100% perfect, is it?
It's not 100% perfect, but the key about mammography is it can find it at its earliest, most treatable stages.
Right.
And so you can avoid things like getting a mastectomy, perhaps, and have a more easier treatments, less invasive treatments if you find it at the earlier stages.
Any cancer scientist and an oncologist, a doctor will tell you the key to beating this thing, no matter what kind of cancer you have, early detection. Absolutely. One of the big keys.
It is. It is one of the biggest keys. And like you said, it only takes 2 minutes. I think that's the biggest barrier that women have, is that it's going to take an hour, it's going to take me forever. But really, by the time you're in the appointment room and you're out, you have a few papers to sign. It's about 20 minutes overall and 2 minutes for the x-ray. So it's not that long.
That's right.
No. And there are digital exams too. Do we have them here in British Columbia yet? Different kinds of exams?
Couple of places if it's
Couple
required.
Of places. So do you still have to have the squish? If
Yeah.
you have one of those?
Oh, yeah.
You do, so squish no matter what?
Yeah.
Okay. Tell me about the Pink Tour.
So the Pink Tour is actually, it's kind of like a little rock star tour for mammography. It's a big pink bus that's traveling all across BC, 50 communities. It started off in Vancouver. It's going all the way up to Squamish, Kelowna, Prince George. It's stopping this weekend at the Dragon Boat Festival, at the Farmers Market in White Rock. And what the tour is, essentially you can get on this big pink 45-foot bus and just learn more about mammography, and you can also try to book an appointment. So what they do is they take down your information, and somebody from the screening mammography center will call you back.
Okay,
to
so
book
it's
your mammography.
an educational bus, really?
Yes.
Yes.
You can't get a mammography,
No,
a
no.
mammogram on the bus. No. That'd be a good idea.
But over 2,000 people have gone through the bus already, and approximately 200 plus women have actually booked to get a mammogram in their closest center. That's the whole point of it.
Okay.
You may not have a center in the little area that the bus
Right.
goes, but they can connect you where there is one.
And is there a plan afoot, perhaps, to have a traveling, I don't know enough about the technology. Could you have, like they do with blood, you know, if you need to give blood, they'll sometimes put it on location. You can go and give blood
Yep.
in the truck.
It's like a mobile unit. Actually,
Mobile
they do have
unit?
a mobile
Yeah.
unit for screening mammography, and it visits some of the more remote communities. And so it usually does that in the latter part of the year, and it'll visit the remote communities that don't have a fixed center.
Right.
And so so if you're living in a small town, the remote unit will come by.
See, that would make sense. And even in Vancouver, people are busy, so you're going to the shopping center and picking up some groceries and a birthday present, and you walk by, it reminds you, think, why not?
Go do it.
Okay, well, we'll have to raise more funds, obviously,
You
for
bet.
that plan.
Yes, and we're doing that.
I'm sure you are. So the foundation itself, your focus, I know, Mandeep, one of yours, is to support the South Asian community.
That's right. So I'm working on a grant right now that's provided by the CBCF to increase awareness of the screening mammography program within the South Asian community, because we find that the South Asian community, the percentages of participation are quite low and lower than the mainstream community. And there's a lot of barriers. Some of them are cultural, some of them are religious, that are stopping women from participating in mammography. And so we're trying to break down some of those barriers so we can get those women booking their appointments.
Definitely. And the ethnicity of breast cancer, is it more prevalent in a Caucasian or an Aboriginal woman?
It's
Do
usually
we
when it's
know?
diagnosed.
It
If you
is.
don't know about breast cancer, if you don't know about the entry to have diagnosis, well then it's likely to come a little bit later. Is that not what you understand?
And
too?
essentially the risk for breast cancer
Yeah.
increases with your age.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really matter what ethnicity, but our thing is we really want women to find it at its early, most treatable stages. So
Yes.
if women aren't participating in mammography, they're essentially waiting till it's too late.
Okay, but culturally, what would stop a South Asian woman from getting a mammogram?
Well, there's a few things. One of them is a lot of the times in our community, we don't talk about cancer until someone's passed away of it. So essentially, when you
Okay.
think cancer, you think
That's
death.
too late.
It's too late. And it's just this big thing that cancer equals death. So
Right.
mammography is like a death finder. So you're going to go and look for cancer, which
see.
is going to cause you to
Yes.
then pass away, which we know is not the case, especially for breast cancer, which in BC is, I think, about a 90% survival rate. And the other thing is about, it's just superstition, really. So if I were to talk to my mom today and say, oh, I don't want to cross the street, I might get hit by a bus, she will be, why did you say that? Now you might get hit by a bus. So they think if I go to look for breast cancer, I will find breast
Okay.
cancer. So I don't want to go look for something I don't want. So those are a couple of things that stop them. And then the belief in God and religion, and that if it's going to happen, it's inevitable, it'll happen anyway. So I'll
Right,
just
fate.
wait. And so my thing is I always tell people, when you cross the street, you look both ways. You don't just cross the street counting on fate. You want to be making sure there's no cars in you. And that's the same thing with
Sure.
mammography. You want to just, it's like crossing the street. Mammography
Of
is like
course,
crossing
and
the street for
educating
your
women at school before they're out of high school, or the girls before they're out of high school, and you go on, and I know you're not too vulnerable to breast cancer, but you can be at 23 or
That's right.
33.
That's right. Well, they also have mums and aunts.
Exactly.
And sisters. So yes, this just should be a normal part of your regular healthcare routine, period.
Is it possible to have a mammography machine in a doctor's office, or is that just
You know, that's probably
not
not,
possible?
the best way of
Because you need
doing
a
it.
technician and all of
You
that,
need
somebody
to have,
read
that's
it.
right, that's right.
And speed is so important, as you know, because I don't know what the procedure is anymore, but at one time you go in and you get the mammogram, and then you wait for the letter in the mail.
If there's an issue, you will probably get a call back very quickly.
Okay.
All right. And usually, if you have a call back, it's simply to eliminate more than to find.
Right.
Because, you know, the number that we do find is very small. Important if you're in that group, that's for sure. But the callbacks are really to ensure that things are being read correctly and appropriately.
Okay, and sometimes the doctor will say, nothing to worry about, I don't think. Because many women have lumps in their breasts and fibrous breasts and
Dense breasts.
and all of that. So it can often, I mean, we all go through it. It's the waiting, as you know.
Yep.
And we imagine that we're pretty much a goner.
Yeah. But I love your analogy of looking both ways before you cross the street. I just think that is so clear.
Yeah, it is clear.
You're going to
and
look
it's
both ways, you know, left and